My name is Matthew Murdoch.
There's no further comment at this stage.
I'm a lawyer.
That's all for now. Thank you.
Exactly what kind of a lawyer are you?
Really good one.
Vigilantes are not heroes. Yeah? It's not entirely unpleasant seeing you again. Why did you stop being a vigilante?
The line was crossed.
Sometimes peace needs to be broken. Chaos must reign.
I was raised to believe in grace, but I was also raised to believe in retribution.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel dropped even more Daredevil trailers, so we'll break it down. There's a bunch of new footage for Born Again. Episodes are starting in a couple weeks. I will be doing videos for everything, just like I did for the classic Netflix series. Be sure to subscribe to get everything, because Charlie Cox has been talking a lot about what's going on the next couple years, especially with Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars, hoping that his Daredevil appears in those next Avengers movies, but they already sly confirmed that Daredevil will have a small role in Avengers Doomsday. They didn't say what he'd be doing, but we'll talk about that during the video. That's what it'll come down to. The Avengers need a really good lawyer to just sue Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom out of the MCU. That's how they'll get rid of him. But at the beginning of the brand new footage, they do something interesting with the Marvel Television logo, where they make it look kind of like the backdrop of New York City, which they also do with the Daredevil Born Again titles too. Like, you can see the skyline of New York City in the backdrop here. Obviously the red and white title for Daredevil colors and Marvel colors blended together. Love seeing the TVMA logo too. That just means that it's going to be a hardcore series. It's like rated R, but for TV shows in the United States. Each different country has a different rating system. TVMA is like the highest rating that you can be given. We get a brief montage of Matt Murdock at the beginning of his day acting as a lawyer, but he's also giving a speech to someone else in a completely different scene, just trying to give an interview. I'm a lawyer, Matt Murdock, no more questions at this time. First scene is shower thoughts, Daredevil. Then we see him getting ready, eating breakfast in what looks like a high-rise. That's the idea, I think, when he's talking to Kingpin, where he says, seems like things are looking up for you, like your career has picked up since the last time we met each other. Part of the idea is that after Daredevil put the costume down and decided to not be Daredevil for a period of time, like he didn't want to be a vigilante because he crossed a line, he completely dedicates himself to being a lawyer for a period of time, and because he is a really good lawyer, he earns a lot more money, with the joke being that in the classic series, the Daredevil Netflix series, all of them were relatively poor because they did so much pro bono work. Seems like his apartment is way nicer, not Kingpin level nice because he's not like crazy rich like Kingpin, but he's still making way more money and able to afford this nice apartment and all this nice stuff. Not totally sure what kind of trial is going on here where he says no further comment, but he's in the middle of the courthouse here, walking out from a trial it seems like. Probably successfully just won the trial. We see him go back to his apartment, we see the end of his day where he pops the bottle of wine, then has another shower at the end of the night. This person that he's making out with looks like Heather Glenn, who's actually supposed to be the marriage counselor for Kingpin in Vanessa, so there's this weird triangle going on which sounds very much like something you'd see on a Daredevil series. I think the whole reason why Kingpin and Vanessa are having marriage problems because they were very much in love. They're very much on the same page at the end of Daredevil Season 3 when it was on Netflix. The way that Vincent D'Onofrio and the other actors talked about it is that Kingpin has left the running of his criminal empire to Vanessa while he's busy being mayor. So that's just created a lot of tension between them because he wants to be a good mayor, like he actually does want to fix New York City, but his old life, so to speak, like we're talking Godfather references here, is pulling him back into the game slowly.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
That same idea is also happening with Daredevil too, where he's slowly being pulled back into the life of being a vigilante, being a hero. But at least for a period of time, both of them have tried to go legit for the most part. The way that they explain it is that they called a truce a long time ago and agreed to stay in their lane, so Daredevil has not been going after Kingpin for the last couple of years, and Kingpin has left Daredevil alone while he's just busy being normal lawyer Matt Murdock. But he knows his secret. Kingpin knows that Matt Murdock is Daredevil because of the end of Daredevil Season 3. He revealed his identity. That painting behind him and Vanessa while they're having dinner is Rabbit in a Snowstorm from the beginning of Daredevil Season 1. The blood on it is Kingpin's blood when Matt Murdock punched the crap out of him and spilled blood on the painting. Kingpin has just left the blood on the painting. So if there's any question, I feel like the rabbit in a snowstorm painting with the blood on it should tell you, yes, everything from the Daredevil Netflix series is canon. Pretty much most of the Defender series are canon too, because there are even some Luke Cage Easter eggs from Harlem's Paradise in the Daredevil trailers. I literally just talked about Jessica Jones coming back because Kristen Ritter is getting ready to film stuff apparently for Daredevil Season 2, which is going to air next year, I believe, but they didn't say when it's going to air. This woman that he's walking outside of the courthouse with saying no further comment right now is Kristen McDuffie, too, from the comics. There's another montage of him just making his breakfast, just getting ready, like doing normal human things, not vigilante things. Love the way the editing sort of picks up the pace of all the different cuts. It's just meant to reference the way that his life slowly descends back into Daredevil mode because of what's happening. As he opens his closet in his apartment and shows all the different Daredevil costumes, the 5 different ones, we'll see how many of them he wears during the series. My assumption is it'll only be like 1 or 2, and then they'll save some of the costumes for Season 2. Then we get the voiceover from Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel's father, saying, "What kind of a lawyer are you?" with the joke paying off the Spider-Man No Way Home reference, a really good one. That's also meant to be right after the bank robbery. It's like the same bank robbery you see in all the different trailers where he stops the robbers and starts acting like a vigilante and just completely wastes them and puts the red mask on, like stealing one of them from the robbers. My assumption is just like a brief cameo somewhere in the first 2 episodes. I don't know exactly which episode. And the idea, I think, is that Kamala Khan's father is just a banker working inside the city and he commutes from Jersey City every day. Like a lot of people live outside New York City and just commute into the city to work. But I don't think that Kamala Khan herself is supposed to have a cameo during the series. I think that he is the only cameo from the Miss Marvel series or the Marvels movie. But the way that Charlie Cox explained it is there'll be a number of different cameo scenes, surprise cameos peppered throughout Season 1 and probably Season 2 as well, but he didn't say which cameos. We know that Bullseye is back, we know that Punisher is back, but I don't consider them cameos because they're in multiple episodes, like they're a much bigger core part of the actual series. When you think cameos, you think of Henry Cavill during Deadpool and Wolverine as the Calverine version of Wolverine. That was like a very brief couple seconds cameo, and that was it. My real hope is that they're bringing the Defenders back slowly over the next couple seasons of Daredevil Born Again and possibly other TV series, is that they just pepper in references to the other Defenders characters, even if you don't actually see them, just to help canonize some of that stuff, even though they've already explained they've canonized all the Netflix Marvel series. Now all you have to do is bring back the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. Then there are a bunch of scenes of him as Daredevil just kicking a whole ton of butt, but some of these seem like they're before the time jump with his fight against Bullseye, and some of them are when he's fighting Muse in the present day of the series after the time jump. This scene when he swings into action is in front of Josie's bar. I think this is like the big WTF event where Bullseye comes back to try and finish the job that he started during Daredevil Season 3 after he gets out of prison, where he tries to kill Karen Page unsuccessfully, I think, because we know that she's around during the present day of the series, so she's fine. But the early theory here is that Foggy winds up being the collateral damage, and either something happens to him or they think that he died, like Daredevil thinks that he dies, and that's the line that is crossed, but then eventually he comes back. I don't think they would completely kill Foggy off, but either way, something really bad sounds like it's going to happen to Foggy, so everybody pray for Foggy. This scene of them fighting with the white lights in the background and the cops is also from a completely separate fight where he's teaming up with Punisher against those corrupt cops that are coming after them. Those are the same ones that are wearing that Punisher logo on their police body armor too. This scene here is not the Punisher wearing his classic logo, this is one of the police officers wearing it. I think part of Punisher's arc during the series has something to do with stopping police officers from using his logo and doing a bunch of shady stuff. Then I think the voiceover of Kingpin saying that vigilantes are not heroes is coming from that diner scene where they're both just going back and forth, catching up after not having seen each other in a long time. And that's based on the comic book arc when Kingpin ran for mayor, eventually did become mayor, but he ran on an anti-vigilante campaign when really he was just using that as an excuse to use the police, like use regular resources of the city to actually go after Daredevil, Spider-Man, all the different heroes that he just called dangerous vigilantes. He was basically campaigning on the idea he was going to clean up New York City to get rid of all the quote-unquote dangerous vigilantes, but really he was just trying to get rid of all the heroes. It sounds like he's going to be doing something like that during the series. But while he's delivering that voiceover, notice he's in the white suit, classic Kingpin white suit, but he's got that really messed up looking hand, and it looks like it's either bloody or it's got some black ink on it. Something really crazy is going on with his fist. But I love the way that he's so casual too, like he's just dabbing his face, just a little bit of sweat, just getting rid of the sweat, but he just completely messed somebody up. Looked like he just completely wrecked somebody. Then we get that same scene of him addressing the crowd during New Year's Eve. I think this is meant to be right after he wins office. Maybe it's before the big time jump, where like he's just become mayor of New York City. And he's just giving his inaugural address like, we got a lot of work to do. We're going to clean up the city. Everything's going to be great. I'm totally not going to do any shady Kingpin stuff because I'm definitely not still evil. I've already talked about all the Easter eggs and references during this, like there's the Rogers musical from the Hawkeye series for the Captain America musical. There's the logo from Hope's company from Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania because it sounds like she's been donating a whole bunch of money. Weirdly, for some reason, they're bringing back the Pingo Doce soda from the Incredible Hulk movie. No idea if there's going to be more Hulk Easter eggs during this, just because why would they include the soda from Incredible Hulk if they weren't going to do Hulk stuff? There's that Luke Cage Easter egg from Harlem's Paradise, just reminding you that Luke Cage is canon to the series. One of the other funny connections to Luke Cage, too, is that in the comics, when Kingpin ran for mayor, eventually Luke Cage ran against him to try and win mayor from him. So eventually Luke Cage was going to try and become mayor of New York City. Maybe they'll even try and do that on the TV shows at some point. We get another brand new scene of what looks like Daredevil inside his apartment fighting Muse. So it seems like Muse either comes to his apartment to try and take him down, or they could be in somebody else's apartment, but he's in his Daredevil suit fighting Muse. We also found out what's going on with Michael Gandolfini's character. So James Gandolfini's son, Michael Gandolfini, is a prominent character on the series. Everybody's been wondering who's playing. Is he like a young version of Kingpin, or is he somebody else? Turns out he is somebody else. He shows up in the present day of the series. He's supposed to be Kingpin's protege while he's mayor of New York City. A big part of his arc, Michael Gandolfini's arc, is that he's this good kid who wants to be a politician someday, but he's slowly drawn into Kingpin's web of crime and driven to eventually do evil. I think he's kind of on a Wesley type of arc. I think he starts as this wide-eyed kid, and Kingpin slowly twists him because Kingpin, still very evil, he just attracts that kind of evil around him. And eventually this kid, Michael Gandolfini, is twisted to become evil just like Wesley was. So he kind of becomes a new version of Wesley over the series, if he doesn't wind up getting killed off by the end. But the other big thing that just happened last week is that Charlie Cox just appeared on Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man as another version of his Daredevil. It's set in an alternate universe, so technically it's not MCU Daredevil though. Their fight scene was peak. Now they have to do this in live action. Like seriously, make sure Charlie Cox's Daredevil is in Spider-Man 4. Make sure they have a brief fight that's as good or better than this. But if there's any other Easter eggs or references that you spotted in the brand new footage that I didn't talk about in the video, just write them below in the comments, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get more footage in the next couple days before episodes actually drop. It just seems like they're waiting till like the last possible minute to release every single trailer that they have. It is going to be crazy in the best possible way, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. Speaking of crossover with Spider-Man, the Spider-Man finale is tonight, so my episodes for that should be up Wednesday morning. We just learned about more Marvel projects that Henry Cavill is actually apparently up for. Click here to learn about more Henry Cavill in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and click here for all my other Daredevil Born Again videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.